First, they drained your balls. Now, they drain your brain. You didn't choose this operating system. You installed it every time you laughed at your own decay. You used to fight. Now you scroll. You used to build. Now you cope. This isn't evolution. This is erosion. And you wonder why nothing feels sharp anymore. But if that hit a little too close, good. That means the fire's still somewhere inside. You're not broken. You're just not built for sedation. They told you to just be nice, to sit still, to stop interrupting. Not because they cared, but because you were loud, because you had spark, and because control starts young. So you learned the script. Shrink your voice, soften your eyes, bite your tongue, clap at things you don't believe in. They didn't punish your power. They rewired it. They didn't kill your fire. They convinced you it was smoke, then handed you a fire extinguisher called emotional intelligence. Turned rage into restlessness, turned instincts into issues. You weren't trained to lead. You were trained to please. They said, speak your truth, as long as it's soft, sanitized, safe. The system didn't want your edge. It wanted your obedience. Because obedient men don't ask questions. They scroll, they nod, they spill, and they call it freedom. If you've ever felt too tired to fight, that wasn't weakness. That was conditioning. And now, you get to rewrite the script. You're not lazy. You're overstimulated. Your nervous system is fried by a world that sells dopamine in 15-second doses. And they know exactly what you'll trade for it. One hit of validation, a flash of skin, a joke that neuters your instincts. Every scroll, a silent contract. Every click, a quiet surrender. You paid with precision. You traded drive for dopamine, swapped edge for ease, fire for flicks and filters. Your brain adapts, turns off the alarms, normalizes the rot. And now, the spark that once moved mountains barely gets you through a Monday. They didn't have to take your fire. They just gave you playlists and sites that only fans surf to. You weren't outplayed. You were distracted by comfort, by culture, by a chorus that sings, "This is just how men are now." But what if they're wrong? You were told to evolve, to grow, to heal your inner child, to journal, to regulate, to breathe. But no one told you this. You don't grow in stillness. You grow in storms. Your muscles respond to threat. So does your mind. You asked for flowers. God sent rain. Everyone talks about mindset. But mindset is simple. Do what's needed, based on what you already know. That's not a course, not a book, not a podcast. It's a decision. Every instinct you were told to suppress wasn't a flaw. It was fuel, meant to be sharpened, not silenced. But they called it anger issues, toxicity, fragility. They diagnosed your pressure, but never gave it purpose. So now you feel that heat in your chest, that twitch in your jaw, that urge to shake the cage, and you think something's wrong with you. But what if that's not dysfunction? What if it's the system detecting its expiration date? If you feel like a man in a cage, maybe you are. But what if the key was never outside? everything you were told to let go of. You don't need a therapist to teach you how to handle women. You need a performance coach to teach you how to handle you. Because the problem was never how to impress her. The problem was why you needed to. You were taught to orbit women. Now you reprogram to orbit purpose. Every hour wasted in female validation is an hour stolen from your kingdom. You don't fix women, you build men. And the first brick is clarity. Not the kind you find in a DM reply, the kind you earn under a barbell, or after 30 days of saying no to the noise, to the old pattern, to the easy spill. And what you'll feel isn't pride, it's something quieter, peace, because she was never the prize. Clarity was. But clarity isn't the finish line, it's the ignition key. Because now you see the trap, but can you walk out of it? The real shift happens when clarity becomes action. When you stop saving quotes and start saving discipline. When you stop talking about change and start stacking days. You want to win back your mind? Then move like it. Get underweight. Move in silence. Build systems so boring they make chaos jealous. Not because it looks cool, but because it builds you. And you don't owe the world an update. You owe it a presence it can't ignore. There's no trophy for walking out. No soundtrack for waking up. No one claps when a man quietly reclaims himself. But you'll know. Because the pull is gone. The noise dims. The loop dissolves. And what fills that space isn't pride. It's gravity. A quiet weight behind your words. A presence that doesn't chase. You won't need to post it. To prove it. To preach it. Because real signal doesn't explain itself. It just hits. When you walk into the world now, the world adjusts. Not you. No countdown. No celebration.